Hey you guys, welcome back to Ramon at Home. I'm so excited you're here today because in this video we continue our fall decorating with 5 more fall decorating ideas and DIYs. They look expensive but they're so affordable to make. I'm having a lot of fun sharing these fall DIYs in order to help you to create beautiful displays around your home this fall season. And just so you know, our Christmas season 2026 with brand new videos starts September 4th. I'm so excited to bring you brand new Christmas decorating ideas, DIYs, tips, tricks, and hacks, and all of the things that you need to know for the decorating season. Well, you guys, we're gonna get started with these gorgeous DIYs, and I just wanna ask you that if you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, and if you are already subscribed, don't forget to turn the notification bell on because you will not want to miss what's coming up next here at Ramon at Home. Are you guys ready? Let's get started. Alright everyone, so for this next fall DIY project, I want to show you how I put together the urn that is right here by the Ramon at Home logo. So many of you guys have asked me to show you how this was done, and I'm gonna take the time right now to show you how easy it really is to create a very elegant, elaborate, and dramatic arrangement for your house. This also would be so cool for the entryway table. This will be cool for a mantle and also for outside. Can you imagine having 2 of these urns outside by your front door? I think it'd be so beautiful. But it's gonna be super easy, so I'm gonna start real quick. I have this constructed, so the very first thing I wanna do, I'm gonna put this down. And sorry if I disappear from the camera, but I'm just gonna do it in real time so you guys can see how it actually is done. No editing done. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start with some of these fallen branches that I have, and as you guys can see, it's just a whole bunch of them. There is a hole on the urn right here, and I wanna plug that hole as much as I can. And this right here is going to basically serve as a frog for all of our branches. So make sure that you split them apart. Then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring the tallest branches first, and I'm going to add them, and I'm gonna try and go into that hole through the branches, so that way they lock in place. So I'm gonna go one down, then I wanna bring one up. So I'm gonna go opposite ways. Remember, what happens on the left happens on the right. It doesn't matter what project you are working on. So I'm gonna try and go through this hole right here. I'm gonna give it a little curvature like this. And it gets tighter in there, but these are the longest branches there are. So it is very important they go all the way down, as you guys can see right here. Then you give it a curvature. Then this one right here, I want it to spill forward this way. So I'm gonna give it a curvature and I'm gonna bring it forward. And this will be the last one that goes through the hole like that. And you bend them down like this. Like this. So now what I have, let me remember what was next. So what I have is this beautiful eucalyptus, and this also is a longer form, and I only have 2 of them. So I'll make sure that one goes back to this side like that, and then another one spills forward. I'm gonna push this branch down like this. And remember, you have to crisscross them and make sure that they go on the hole or just like that. And as you guys can see, it's giving us all of the height and the width that we need for this arrangement. You know what, I'm gonna push this one right here. Perfect, love that. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring some other branches that I have, and I'm gonna add them just right in the middle to give it the height that I need. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that right here. As you guys can see, it gives us some height in the middle, and that also is gonna help us with the foliages like that. Then I have this faux, I think it's a curly willow, but it's faux, and I'm gonna just add it right here in the middle just to give us support with all of the branches. Making sure that you have, if you had a mirror right here or a picture right here, you wanna make sure that you frame onto it instead of covering it. So I'm gonna make sure that I go, with this one I do wanna go in the middle, so I'm gonna find that hole, and there you go. See how now I have all of my width and have some spilling forward. So now this is the fun part where I bring all of the foliages. So sorry if I do disappear, but I have to gather all of my foliages. All right, so this one right here, because it's short, I'm gonna put it right here like that. And I want to make sure that I have some facing up. So I'm gonna add one right here, like that. And because I have some spilling forward this way, I want to make sure that I have some spilling forward the other side, just like that. And now I'm gonna go over to this side and I'm gonna start spilling forward over to this side, like this. And I have a last one right here, so I'm going to go ahead and add it towards the back. Even though it is flat on the wall, you want to make sure that you have some balance on your bouquet. Remember, what happens on the left happens on the right, and you have to make sure that you cover all of your spaces. All right, so then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add this big pumpkin right here. As you guys can see, there was a hole for it. And then I have another pumpkin that I'm going to put right here towards the back. You see just a little peekaboo of it, and then I have a longer form of it, and I'm going to go ahead and add it right here. What that does also, it just creates the center where our bird is going to go. And I'm gonna go ahead and grab, actually, you know what? First of all, I have a little bird's nest that I had added in there. So I'm gonna add this bird's nest right here on the corner. So she's basically protecting her little eggs. And then I have some hydrangea that I put on picks. And what I do with this is I just ground that nest side on side, like that. And so it looks like it's sitting on the hydrangea, but it really is not. So then I'm gonna add this little bit of bittersweet. I'm gonna add right here, and I have another one over on this side, and I'm gonna add right here. So basically this is the area of his nest. So now what I'm going to do is grab my bird, and I'm gonna position it right here, like that. And just like that, you have a beautiful fall display that can be used on a mantle, an entryway table, or outside by your door. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Before we continue with our next DIY, I want to remind you that you can come and follow me on my private group on Facebook. It's called Ramon at Home Masterclass, where I teach live DIYs 4 times a week. And if you want to join this private group, all you have to do is go to Facebook. There is a post that is pinned to the top. Follow the instructions and you too can come and join the fun. We're building a really cool community of like-minded creatives, and we're talking about how to make all of these beautiful DIYs and also how to sell them. So if you are interested, don't forget to come and join Ramon at Home Masterclass on Facebook. All right, let's get back to the video. We're gonna start with some fall foliages and some of the items that we've been using throughout the video. So what I'm going to do is, I'm gonna start with this fall foliage from Hobby Lobby, and I'm gonna do 2 going down and stagger them like this. You might wanna give it a bend to one side so it gets fluffier, like that. And then I'm gonna do 1 up here. That's gonna be our core right here. You wanna make sure that you bring this one down like this and get rid of this tag. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring in one of these black little sparklers that I love, because that's gonna help us fill in right here the void that we have. And then I'm gonna add one right here on the top. Remember, what goes up must come down, so we have to make sure that we use the same elements up and down. Now also remember, whatever happens on the left happens on the right, so be sure to alternate the sides when you are doing something like this. So now I'm gonna add this cute little pig that came from Walmart, and that's gonna be more of our filler. So I'm gonna put 1 up, and then I'm going to insert 1 going down like this. And now, oh my gosh, it's getting full right here, but it's okay, you can use all your hand. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring one of these beautiful purple sparklers that I call the sparklers, and I'm gonna add it right here, and we're gonna fluff it a little bit so all of them show. And then I'm going to add this really cute purple one going up here to kind of balance it off, and we'll adjust in a second to see if we need to be adjusted. And then I'm gonna add this one right here on the bottom as well, and I'm gonna introduce this guy right here like this. And we'll start fluffing in a second, but the first thing we want to do is make sure that we tie all of this together. And I'm going to use a zip tie for that. And I'm going to pull really tight to tie them all together. Then we're going to fluff. But first I'm going to cut the excess of this zip tie right here. Okay, so now I'm going to put that to the side. We'll fluff in a second. Now what I want to do is, I want to use all of the leftover ribbon that I have from this. Oh, that's actually a lot that I have left over. I did not know that. But what I want to do is I want to do simple loops. So what I want to do is leave a tail about that big, and then I'm going to just do one cute loop like that, and then I'm going to do a longer tail, and I'm going to cut right here. And so I'm going to introduce now my black and white one. I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to do a tail, and then I'm going to do a cute loop like this, and then I'm going to cut right here, roll that tail at the end. So now what I want to do is I want to bring the Deco material ribbon, and I'm going to also do a big long tail, and then I'm going to do a loop right here, and I'm going to cut again. See how easy this is? All you have to do is single loop. Now I'm going to bring this beautiful orange 1-inch ribbon, and I'm going to do the same. Remember, because he is the smallest of them all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 loops of him. So I'm going to do yet another one right here. So I'm going to bring it over to the other side. I'm going to swap. I'm going to see if I can swap. Yes, I can. Okay, so I'm going to put it on this side, and then I'm going to do a loop. And now I'm going to, well, that's all there is of him, so that's good. So now you want to fluff, make sure that you have them about the same height. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a wire, not a zip tie this time, but a wire, because I'm going to make sure that I attach it to my swag. So basically just go like this and pull back really tight. You can measure right here, like I can see this a little bit too floppy. So I'm going to go down a little bit, make sure they're all at the same height. Perfect. And so now I'm going to twist like this, and I'm going to grab my swag, and I'm going to attach right here in the middle. And I'm going to swirl real quick. So now I'm going to fluff my swag, and I'm going to start separating all of my stems, making sure that they all show like this. All of the stems that have some foliage in them, just make sure you fluff them and thin them out so they can start showing, and then we'll fluff all of our ribbons at the end. So every single swag, every single stem, you want to make sure that you attach to make it look more abundant like this. These sparkles you want to put to the side, and you want to fluff. This black and white right here you want to put to the side by giving them a little touch like that, and you want to fluff. And see how much fuller it became. I'm going to fluff these ribbons, put it in the door, and show you what it looks like. Keep watching. Alright, so I just want to show you how beautiful your door can look if you are looking to put a swag that is absolutely bountiful and actually colorful at the same time. I really love working on this simple yet elegant design, and I really hope that you guys are inspired. As you can see, it's not a lot of things that you need to create something beautiful for your door this fall. I cannot wait to read your comments, so leave me a comment down below. Are you guys having as much fun as I am sharing these fall DIYs? They look expensive, but they're really not. I really hope that you are. And in this segment, I want to take a second to thank all of the people that have sent their ornaments for this lady. Her name is Chiquita. We're going to decorate this cancer patient Christmas tree this holiday season, and so many of you have sent your ornaments, and I'm so thankful for you. So if you were one of the people that sent an ornament or a box, thank you, and there will be a video coming up soon about all of the decorating items you have sent, and I really hope you'll tune in for that. All right, you guys, let's continue with the fall decorating DIYs. So for this next fall DIY, I figured we do a cute little urn with pumpkins and foliages and flowers. So what we're going to need is this metal urn that I found at Shinoda Design Center, but you can use any container you may have. Also this little bundle of mums. I think these are, if I'm not mistaken, these are marigolds. I'm gonna use some gray foam. I'm gonna use 2 styles of pumpkins, a variety of greeneries, my wire cutters for my tools, my hot glue gun, 1 florist knife, and one of these florist stakes, but you can use skewers if you have them at hand. All right, so let me get all of this situated, and I'll be right back with you, so stay tuned. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna introduce some foam into our container. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab my knife and I'm gonna start cutting into the shape of this urn. And then we're gonna go ahead and push as far down as we can because we need to make sure that that pumpkin's gonna stay in place. Once we have our foam introduced into our container, what we're going to do is we're gonna put this stake right in the middle and I'm just gonna leave it there for now, okay? So then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring some foliages and I'm going to go ahead and cut them short, and I wanna start with some of this beautiful maple. And if you've been following the channel, you know what happens on the left happens on the right. So just go ahead and introduce some of this foliage, and I'm probably gonna use about 3 or 4. And a secret is to get them a little spin like this so they are fuller. I'm gonna do 3, and I'm gonna use a 4th one over here on this side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab some of this other full foliage and I'm gonna start filling in the gaps where I don't have any foliage. And if you don't have a lazy Susan, well, let me tell you, you should invest in one, because look how easy it is to balance your arrangements when it comes down to spinning around. All right, so then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna cut some of these marigolds, and I'm just gonna go ahead and cut some of them. You guys know that I like to cut them all at once, but I think I'm only gonna use a few of them. So I'm gonna leave some of these on the stem and put them to the side in case I need them again. But what I need is some of these really pretty flowers to fill in some of this gap as well. And what I like about these bundles, because it has a variety of 2 flowers, 2 colors, and it comes with this really pretty greenery that also helps to fill in our gaps. So we have 4. So now I'm gonna get my pumpkins ready and I'll be right back. All right, so the first thing I wanna do is I wanna go ahead and take this little stem from the pumpkin off from this one. And as you guys can see, they're made out of styrofoam. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and push my skewer or my stake through the pumpkin very easily. And you have to be a little patient because you have to pull through that, but look how cute that is. So then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab some of this foam and I wanna cut a little square, but I want it to be rather thick because we're gonna introduce some of those foliages. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab some of my glue and just adding some right here in the middle. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna introduce this foam and glue it right there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab the next pumpkin and I'm going to actually kind of cut. I wanna make sure that I don't poke all the way through. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna cut some of these skewer right about here. And then I'm going to introduce my second pumpkin into my topiary, but making sure that, you know, it's kind of a wiggle because they are, there you go, like that. And so now we have a topiary, and what we need to do is just fill in, and I'm gonna use some of these flowers. So I'm gonna put them really close to my topiary because I don't want it to protrude as much as the foliage is right here in the bottom, because this is just an accent. So if you need to cut, just go ahead and cut, but make sure that you cover the whole perimeter with this marigold. So I'm gonna cut the rest. I'm gonna cut them short. Might as well. Thumbs up if you guys are enjoying this fall season. I cannot wait to read your comments. I wanna know which of all of these projects has been your favorite from the fall season, and if you are as excited as I am for what's next. If you've been following the channel for a while, you know that this is just leading into a holiday season that I cannot wait for you guys to come back and witness. All right, so I have just a few more and I'm making sure that I put them pretty packed, and see how important it is to have that foam in there. You can really see where you need a flower, just go ahead and poke, because you have that foam in there. It just makes it so easy. And the fact that these flowers have a little bit of foliage, then it really helps to fill in between the pumpkins. And I also love this particular DIY. Okay, the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my mechanics, and for that I'm going to put a dab of glue on this foam right here, and I'm running out of glue, so I'm gonna put another glue stick in here so that I am ready. All right, so I'm gonna make sure that I press down and that will stick into my container. This is a little plastic container from the dollar store because I want it to be a little bit more substantial. Then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put a little moss all the way around this to kind of cover the perimeter of that little plastic dish. So once we've done that, what we want to do is we're gonna cover some of this little foam with some full foliages. And I'm gonna do that by inserting some green, some orange. I'm trying not to burn myself, you guys. And so I wanna do all the way around. I want it to kind of stick out a little bit more. And so what I'm going to do is I'm gonna actually put some glue here, and we wanna cover this whole perimeter. Remember, what happens on the left happens on the right, and what goes up must come down. I'm gonna go over this side. And the foam, it's making it a little bit more difficult to insert. However, it is very important that you put that foam in there if you want to cover the whole perimeter of your container. So I'm gonna also alternate some foliages. I want some to be green, some to be orange, but I want them all to be fall-like, so that way it looks beautiful. And also I wanna make sure you don't wanna put anything on the top of it because the pumpkin is a little bit larger. So we want to make sure that it sits in it. However, we do want to get as close as possible to the perimeter of our foam because I want to make sure that that candle sits there and you don't see the whole perimeter of it. So I'm just going to continue adding some, and I'm going to just grab glue right here from my gun and continue to add. Remember to alternate the green and then also the orange, so that way you have more of a full feel to it. I'm gonna add this guy right here. And I'm gonna continue adding these foliages, and I'll be right back to give you the next step. Okay, so now that I've covered most of the perimeter of my foam, what I wanna do is I'm gonna go ahead and cut some of these really pretty bittersweet to give it some bittersweet. I think it'd be really cute if we add it right here. And so I'm gonna add a little bit of glue to my stem, making sure that I smear some of it. And I'm gonna add right here. And remember, what goes up must come down, so be sure to put some of that bittersweet all throughout so they can look natural. Look how pretty that is. Oh, I love bittersweet, you guys. You know, it's one of my favorites to work with during the fall season because it really just adds so much volume to any centerpiece or to any arrangement that you'll be making. It just adds so much to it. So I'm gonna add another one right here. I'm gonna continue spinning, and I'm gonna add another one right here. And you can actually twirl them like this because that's how bittersweet grows in the wilderness. I remember when I lived in Kansas, bittersweet was my favorite to work with. All right, so I'm gonna add a little glue to this one right here, and so like that. And so now I have some of these big magnolia foliages. These are gonna be fun because they're gonna add a lot more texture. So you just add a little bit of glue right here, and then you start inserting those big foliages like that. Look how pretty that is. It just helps to cover some of the perimeter because they are a larger foliage. So it's so much fun to use, and all you have to do is just insert like that and make sure that it sticks to one of your foliages around here. And I'm just gonna continue adding this all throughout the perimeter. And look how we went from that little centerpiece to now a larger one that is going to look so pretty on a stick or a stand. I'm gonna add one right here on the bottom, just lifting up some of my foliages, and I'm gonna add right there. I'm gonna continue to spin around. Remember to always spin around your arrangements because you want them to be very balanced, and the way you balance your arrangements is by spinning them around. So now I have a last foliage of magnolia, and I'm gonna add it towards the bottom. I'm gonna add it right here, so just lifting up like that. So far so good. Look how cute that is, you guys. That's turning out really, really pretty. So now I'm gonna put this to the side because I want to show you how to make a cute little bow. So I'm gonna bring Oh, let me give this a little wipe real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring my ribbon, and because this ribbon is too thick or too wide to make any loops, what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna give myself some tails. So probably about 8-inch tails, and I'm gonna dovetail on both sides. And so I'm gonna put that down, and then I'm gonna bring this deco material, and I'm also gonna do the same thing. So basically just cut about 8 inches. Remember, we want all the same elements to be all throughout all of our decorations at home. Make sure that you dovetail that guy right here, and I'm gonna lay that down like that. So that's gonna be the beginning of our bow, and I have a zip tie somewhere, so let me just get a zip tie. It went away from me. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna pinch this guy right here, and that's gonna be like our tail, and then we're gonna cross the other one, and we're gonna pinch right there as well. That's gonna be our tails of the wider ribbons. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring my polka dotted ribbon, and I'm going to give myself a tail. I'm going to pinch, and then I'm going to, oh, here's my zip tie. I'm going to do a loop, and then I'm gonna remember to always spin around so you can get all of that beautiful pattern, okay? And then I'm gonna do, because these are going to be only 2 ribbons that I'm gonna use to do loops, I'm going to do 3 loops each, and I'm gonna cut right here. I will make sure that I dovetail those at the end. Then I'm gonna bring my other one, and it's going to be this beautiful glitter lame. It's one of my favorites. I'm gonna pinch right here, giving it a tail. Remember to always put the tail in first. Then I'm gonna pinch right here, and then I'm going to twist around, and I'm going to go back up again and pinch, and then I'm gonna pinch again, and I'm gonna do a third one right here like that. So I'm gonna cut, and so now using my zip tie, I'm going to zip tie all of this together. Now remember what I said, that if the thicker the ribbon is, just do tails for a small project. If you're making a bigger project, of course you can always do tails for everything, but because this is a smaller project, what I want to do is just want to make sure that I have some of the fabric, and look at that. So now what you can do is just fluff all of your tails, all of them like this, and all of your bows, including that deco material. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dovetail these guys real quick to make them a little bit smaller because they are a little long. And look how cute this was. Super easy and simple. Oh my gosh, this 1-inch ribbon is so beautiful. You have to have the variation of widths on your ribbons to make sure that you create some pattern and then also some texture into your ribbon. All right, so that's gonna be it. Now here's the trick how we're going to attach. I'm gonna grab a big wire, and I have one that is, let's see, I have one already here. It's about, I wanna say about a 20 gauge. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna do like a U-shaped clip like this, and I'm gonna go through the zip tie right here. Oh my goodness, I forgot to cut it. Here's the zip tie, we're gonna cut the excess of that. And then we're gonna push that little US pin right here. So now I'm gonna bring my little arrangement, and I'm gonna add a little bit of glue to the wire to make sure that when it goes in the foam, well, it'll stay there. Okay, so now I'm gonna add it right here to the side. And look at that. And that just gives you all of the ribbons, all of the patterns. How adorable is this, you guys? So this is what the candlestick is looking like right now, and I love the way this looks. However, what we're going to do is we're gonna add some of the elements that we put on the rest of the projects or DIYs that we did with this particular theme. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually gonna cut some individual foliages from this. I'm gonna do 3 of this, and I'm gonna reserve the rest. I'm gonna put it right here on the bottom, and then I'm gonna cut 3 of these big ones as well. Remember to always try and add the same elements to all the projects to make them look cohesive. I'm gonna do another glitter one, so it has some of that beautiful glitter. So I have 6 foliages that I'm going to add. And then also what I'm going to add is some of these cute glitter pumpkins. They already have a pick to them, so I'm gonna put them right here on the side. But I'm gonna start with these foliages right here. So I'm gonna add some glue right here making sure that I smear really good. I'm gonna spin this around to me, and I'm gonna open right here, and I'm just gonna go ahead and add it. I'm gonna start right here with a bow. And so I added a purple one, and now I'm gonna add a black one. So I'm gonna add more glue to it right here. Isn't this fun, you guys? This would be so beautiful on a server, on an entryway table. It just would be so pretty in your home, like this. Making sure that you give that foliage a little shape. Look how cute that is. And so now I'm gonna add, I think I'm gonna add another purple one, 2 purple ones and a black one. But make sure that you are generous with your hot glue gun and it won't come off. Okay, so I'm gonna add one right here where the ribbons are. Look at that, how adorable it is. And so now what I'm gonna do is to balance on the other side, I'm gonna do 2 of the black ones. And I'm going to make sure that I add a lot of glue so it sticks to the foliages. Let's see, I'm gonna add it right about here, like that. And then I'm gonna add yet another one right here. So 2 of the black. Let me see, I'm gonna put this guy right here. And then I'm gonna add the last purple one that I have, making sure that I add where I cut, right there. Lots of glue. And I'm just gonna add this guy right about here. So it has that polka dot of purple. How adorable is that? Now to finish it all off, I'm gonna add some of these glitter pumpkins. So I'm gonna put just one right here, and I'm gonna attach this guy right in the center of my bow. And it went into the foam. And then on the other one, I'm gonna add 2 to my design right here. One there, and the other one right about here, right next to it. So that's what it looks like. Okay, so I want to show you a close-up of what it looks like with the pumpkin on top, and then explain that these guys right here need to be bent a little bit so the light really catches it. But as you guys can see, this was done mainly with all recycled item, and I just added a few items. Let me change it for the candle, and I'll be right back to show you the candle style. Okay, so here it is with the candle, and this would be, like I said, perfect for a server, perhaps an entryway table, maybe a buffet table, and it was super easy to make. I really do hope that you guys are inspired to create something beautiful and different this year for your fall decorating. All right, so we're gonna continue with our fall decorating, but before we do that, I want to remind you that if you are new to the channel, to please consider subscribing, and if you already subscribed, don't forget to turn the notification bell on, because you will not want to miss what's coming up next for the holiday season. Let's get back to the video with our last fall decorating DIY. I know you're gonna enjoy it. All right, everyone, so the materials we're going to need to create a beautiful Halloween fall swag is going to be, of course, one of these green pine teardrop swags, and I'm just gonna mention real quick, I'm gonna give it a light spray of black flat spray paint that you can find at any hardware store. I got mine at Walmart, actually. All right, so for the picks that I selected for show are going to be these beautiful purple leaves that have some sequins in them. I also show some of these gray and silver picks that also have some glitter. For the foliages, I'm gonna use some fall foliage and then some greenery foliage to kind of mix in with it, so it gives it a lot of texture. I'm gonna use a lot of ornaments in orange and then also in black. And I'm gonna use this as my focal point, this beautiful pumpkin. I just thought this was so beautiful. And then also this guy that is mechanic, and I'm super excited about him because he has a sensor right here. So that, I think that would be cute for when somebody comes into the door, we'll put him on top of the pumpkin. Now for my ribbons, I've selected this beautiful Deco mesh ribbon that has all of the colors right here, the orange, the black, and the purple. I selected this beautiful, absolutely stunning D. Stevens ribbon that has a ticking black and white stripe. And I'm gonna combine that with a polka dot purple and then also an orange glitter, because all of these colors are in our accent piece, which is going to be our owl. All right, so I'm gonna get this ready. I'm gonna go spraying this swag with a black spray paint, and I'll be right back to give you step number 1. Keep watching. All right, so this is what the teardrop swag looks like after we have given it a coat of spray paint with a flat spray paint that you can get at any local hardware store. So I'm gonna put that away because I'm already done with it. And I wanna start with a deco material ribbon. This is basically a deco mesh roll that they have cut into a ribbon, and I love it because it's so convenient. So what we're going to do is we're gonna start with this material, and I'm gonna just cut in a little angle right here, and I'm gonna do what I always do. It's different to work with deco mesh ribbon than it is to work with the actual roll, but I figured that I can show you guys some techniques. As I told you in one of the lives, I took a class with a lady that all she does is deco material here in San Diego, and I saw it posted on Facebook. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go take a little class, because up until this point I didn't really like to work with deco material because I just thought it looked a little cheesy. But now that I've learned from her how to work with this material, I want everybody to know how to do it. So basically what we're going to do is we're gonna do a bow right here, and then we're gonna start doing loops, kind of like what we do with our ribbon, but I want them to be very tight because I just want them to cover some of this. So I'm gonna start right here on the outside doing loops. You wanna give them some give. Remember to always give it some give, because it's what's gonna give the deco material some body, or actually any ribbon. You have to give it some give. So we're gonna create these loops right here. And as we taper down, you wanna make sure that those loops are a little bit smaller so they don't look as prominent as the ones up on the top. And you know what I wanna get me? Like a kind of like one of those paper napkin holders that have like a alabaster or some marble on the bottom, so you can put your rolls of ribbon and you don't have to lose them. I think that'd be a cute idea. All right, so now I'm gonna cut right here on the bottom, and then I'm going to start back up, just making another bow with 2 loops. Now I forgot to mention that my tools are going to be, of course, my wire cutters for wire, my trusty scissors for ribbon, and then I have some hot glue sticks and my hot glue gun over here to get started with this beautiful fall swag DIY. And if you have not seen the last Halloween wreath that we did, you guys, you have got to go check it out. It was super cute. I really loved it. Okay, so I'm gonna go right here in the middle. I'm gonna wrap that wire into the bristle, and I'm gonna start doing the middle loops right here. As I was mentioning, I'm gonna put it right here on the screen right now, you guys. It was a witch-inspired cauldron with lots of beautiful ribbons, and then also ornaments in black and white and fuchsia, and it had some lime green, and it was just absolutely beautiful. I loved it. It was one of my favorite ribbons, one of my favorite wreaths that I have ever done. However, if this comes out the way I'm thinking, I think you're really going to like this one as well. All right, so I'm gonna cut right here. And as you guys can see, this is filling out really beautifully, and I just love the way this looks. Once again, this is a deco material ribbon. It's cut into the shape of a ribbon, and all you have to do is pinch and gather. Grab one of your wires, cut it in half. You don't need a lot of wire, so we're just gonna cut this guy in half. And then we're gonna tie with a wire right here because it really makes it easy to attach right here. So now I'm gonna go over to this side. I'm gonna right here, and see how this created a beautiful bow, and then it gave you the lead to start attaching all of these ribbons into your swag. So now we're gonna do the outer edge of it. Twist with your bristles. Once again, just give it a little bit of give. Twist with your bristles. Give it one more. You have to make sure that you really, there you go, fix it so you can do that loop really well. And as it tapers down, remember to do those loops a little bit smaller. Are you guys having a wonderful beginning of your fall season? I know it's only summer, but in the crafting world, we always work one season ahead. And so now, right now, we're full mood fall, and we're about to move on with Christmas here in about a month. And that's when things get really good here at Ramon at home. We're gonna be doing so many ideas, and I cannot wait for you guys to see. All right, so now that we're done with this right here, so basically this is what it looks like. I'm going to do one more bow just to fill in, because if you're doing a deco material, part of the gig is that it's pretty full. And so basically we're gonna create one more bow. I'm gonna grab my little wire right here, pinch, and see, this saves you a lot of money because this ribbon is not very expensive, and you don't have to buy a whole roll of deco mesh. However, if you already have a roll of deco mesh, then go ahead and use it. I'm just gonna go ahead and do a few loops right here to continue, and just pinch right here. So this is what's going to look like so far, and the next step is going to be to attach a focal point. But before I do that, let me just do one more right here to finish this guy in a good note. Thumbs up if you guys are enjoying these fall DIYs. Be sure to give the videos a thumbs up, and then also to share with your friends. Let them know what we're doing here, Ramon at Home, for fall and for the holiday season. All right, so that's that for now. So I'm gonna bring the next items and I'll be right back with you. Keep watching. All right, so the next step is going to be to add our characters, and I already went ahead and put the pumpkin in. What I did is I grabbed the wire. There is a 20 gauge wire. I poke it through the pumpkin because it is made of styrofoam, so it was super easy. Then I just attached it to the back, and I fluffed, and I kind of gave it like a skew kind of shape to it. And so the thing that we're gonna add next is going to be our character, which I love, you guys. He is so cute. Anyways, well, with this side, we're gonna turn it off, but I want to attach him right here on top of the pumpkin. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab a longer, thin wire like this, and I'm going to put around his neck. It's made out of fabric, so he's not gonna choke, I promise. No animals were hurt. No stuffed animals were hurt on the making of this video. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put that to the side because I'm gonna put it on the back so we can turn it on and off. And then I'm gonna find a spot right here, and I'm going to go all the way back, weaving through the bows that we just made. And I think for this step, I have to take him off of the stand. So I'm gonna take it off the stand, and I'm gonna push all the way back. Then I'm gonna attach those two wires. Then I'm just gonna make sure that they're really tight like this. And then I'm just gonna hide them with a little bristle. So now that should hold our character on place. And we're gonna have to do some finessing right here. So he look how cute that is, you guys. Oh my gosh, you're adorable. I cannot wait. Then the pack, we'll worry about it at the end. We wanna make sure, actually, let me show you real quick. The battery pack, what you want to do is you wanna bring it all the way to the back like this. And just with a bristle, you want to push it as far as you can to the middle. Just fold a few bristles, twist them, and that will hold your pack right here so you can turn it on and off. That's for anything that has a mechanic to it. All right, so far that's what it looks like. We're gonna do some finessing with the ribbon right here to bring it back out. We're gonna see our owl on top of the, how adorable is this? That is so cute. Okay, so before we add the greenery, what I want to do is put the ribbons in, you guys, because that's what's going to really fill in our design. And I want to combine these three ribbons. So I'm going to go ahead and just free them from their packaging all at once so I can work with them. So I'm going to put them right here. And I have this third one that I think would be so cute with all of this. You want to have your statement ribbon, an accent ribbon, and then just something that is like, that will tie them all together. So I'm gonna start with this guy right here. So I'm gonna start, isn't this just absolutely gorgeous? I want a longer tail like that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a bow. I wanna make a very substantial bow like this. We're gonna twirl, and then like this, and then twirl, and we're going to cut right here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna bring this really pretty purple, and I'm gonna put it right on top, giving it about the same tail. Then I'm gonna do a loop like this. I'm gonna pinch, and then I'm gonna come back up and pinch. And then what I wanna do is making sure that the design or the polka dots are up, and then I'm gonna do another loop like this. And then I'm going to pinch, and then I'm going to cut right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna introduce my third ribbon, which will be this really pretty shiny orange glitter ribbon. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another tail right here. It's kind of like a funky bow, but all at once. And what I like about this ribbon is because it has a beautiful lame back. So you can do the lame, which I think I will, and just let the glitter under it. And then I'm going to do another right here. You have to start finessing right here. Then I'm going to leave a tail. And I'm going to grab one of my wires that I have already pre-cut. I'm going to pull this back really tight, and I'm going to attach this guy right here. Well, first we might want to give it a little flap so all of the bows are showing beautifully like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach right at the base of my pumpkin, if I can find my wire right here. Okay, so I'm going to add it right here, and I'm going to go all the way back and then just attach those wires without letting go, because you want to make sure that it's really tight so it doesn't come crashing down on your door or your customer's door. And how adorable is this? Look at that. Remember, we'll fluff those at the end. And I feel like because there's some black and white here and some purple here, we're gonna need the same up here somewhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna do single loops, and I'll show you what I mean. So I'm gonna grab a smaller tail, and then what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do just a cute little loop like this. And then I'm gonna twist like that, and I'm gonna cut right here at an angle. These tails, I don't want them to be so long because this is just an accent, okay? So you don't want them to be as long. And so I'm gonna start right here one more time. And then I'm gonna go down like this, pinch, gather, twist, and then we're gonna do yet another one right here. So I only have 2 of this, 1 of this, and I'm going to do only 1 of the orange as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this down and just do 1 loop right here, pinch it and gather it like this, and then I'm gonna do 1 loop like this, and then I'm gonna cut right here. I'm gonna grab a wire and go through all of these ribbons. You would think it's a tedious job, but it really is not. It's really entertaining. I just love making these swags for my clients because I can spend all day crafting, you guys. And see, all you have to do is just a little loop of black and white, a little loop of 2 loops of purple, and 1 loop of orange, and it brings all of your colors up to the top. And so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna introduce this guy right here on the top, and I'm gonna take it off the stand to tie it, because I need to go all the way back and make sure that it's very attached to my swag. And just twirl, 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 and then we're gonna put him back onto the stand. Onto the stand it goes. Okay, I need to find my, right here. How adorable is this? And then at the end, we'll probably finesse all of these ribbons just to make sure. So now, because I don't have anything on the sides and I want it to be cohesive, here's what we're going to do. I'm gonna get down and get my ribbon. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not gonna use this longer one. I'll tell you why. There is gonna be too much if I put a lot of it in. But what I will do is, I'm gonna grab this one right here. I'm gonna give it a fresh cut because that's not good. Then I'm gonna grab this guy right here, dump him on the floor, and what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do a few loops. So I'm gonna just grab right here a little tail, it's about 2.5-inch tail, and I'm gonna go right here, okay? And I'm gonna go all the way in to make sure that it's attached like that. I'm gonna leave a tail like that, and then I'm gonna give it a big loop right here, pinch, and then we're going to attach one more time right here. And what that's going to do, that's going to unify all of the swag without having to have a lot of ribbon. And what I'm going to do is I'm gonna do one more big loop right here, and then I'm gonna attach right here. Making sure that I have some of these bristles to help me, and at this point it's getting really tight, but you have to find them to attach them, or you can use wire if you like. And you want to make sure that they are cohesive like this, so you might want to pull on the purple one. So now what I think I'll do at the end is I'm gonna add some tails of this ribbon to the side, just a few to finish it off, and so it goes all the way around. Remember, we don't want the big loops here because it will really saturate your design. So now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna add some greenery, and remember, I like to cut all of my greenery at once because that will help you save some time. So I'm gonna add some boxwood of 2 different kinds. And then at the end, I'm gonna add some fall foliage that I think is going to throw this design over the top. And if you follow Ramon at home, you know that I like over the top. Actually, I'm gonna cut that as I go because it'll be easier to maneuver. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna grab my hot glue gun and I'm gonna put my little dish. Here's a tip, you guys. If you work with a hot glue gun, if you have a ceramic dish that you can let your glue gun rest, that way you don't have spillage all over the place. And it's just gonna help you be more organized. So just add a little glue right here, and I'm gonna start right here on the top, and I'm gonna go all the way around. So I'm gonna add right here, and remember to do 1 type of greenery at a time, and then insert right here. You could also use a hot glue pen, but I'm finding out that I actually love working with my hot glue gun more than I thought, so I'm just gonna use the hot glue gun for now. I'm gonna add right there, and just be generous with your glue. This is Gorilla Glue, and you can find it at your local hardware store like Hobby Lobby or Home Depot. Even at Walmart, I've seen it before, and it's just the best. I really do like the Gorilla sticks. I buy them by the bundle to have because I'm always crafting either for me or for my clients. That I'm taking orders right now for fall. So I've been doing a lot of swag, so I just figured that I could show you a few of these designs. And remember to go all the way around, okay? So now I'm gonna switch to this guy right here, and we're gonna finish this other side. What happens on the left happens on the right. If you do one on the left, just move to the right away, because that's what's gonna give your swag, your wreath, and everything else that you make a lot of balance. And what you're looking for is balance, I would say. Okay, and then also don't forget to go in and out, like if you guys see right here on the back, and I'm gonna go in because it looks more beautiful if you have some depth and dimension to your design. And the way you do that is going in and out. Like right here, I'm gonna open and I'm gonna go in. So that way it looks weaved in. And at this point, I think I'm just gonna add one to the bottom, even though you might not be able to see it, but you'll see it at the door when I hang it. I'm gonna add one right here. Like that. I need a glue stick already. Now the thing about glue sticks is that you do go through a lot, but it's so worth it. I'm gonna put some to the side. You know that I like to put some to the side so I can design and finish the holes that are my left. Okay, so I'm gonna cut 2. Sure, I'm gonna cut them all, why not? I didn't want to because I didn't know if I was gonna use all of it, but I think at this point, since I just cut them all, I will use all of them. What I like about this particular foliage is because you can shorten it or you can make it longer. I'm gonna shorten it because I just wanna fill in. And I'm gonna add some glue right here. Smear it to your swag, and look at that. How cute is that? That's gonna add that full touch. And this one has a tag, so make sure you take that tag. You don't want your customer, you don't want it on your door with a whole bunch of tags on it. All right. And so now we're gonna start going to the sides. I'm gonna go to this side right here behind my little character. And then I'm gonna come back in with this one. Some of these ones have some berry bundles, and I just think they're super cute. I'm trying not to add a whole bunch of things to this swag because I really do want these two to be my main characters. So I'm gonna be careful not to oversaturate it. However, I did want it some fallish, well, because Halloween is during the fall, so I figured that we could add some, but I'm not gonna add a lot of it. I'm gonna continue adding this fall foliage, and I'll be right back. Keep watching. All right, so the next step is going to be to add our big ornaments, and for that, I'm going to wire them this time around because I thought it'd be easier and there'd be less glue spillage. If you're gonna glue ornaments, I really do recommend to put it on the table because the weight of it will hold them down to where if I try to attach these ones right here, well, they're gonna continue to fall off. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put a little wire on them, and I'm gonna go through here, and I'm gonna pull my wire as close as I can to a bristle right here, and then I'm going to attach to that bristle like this. Now I do want to add a cluster of cute little orange ornaments right here. So I'm gonna add yet another one by adding one of these wires. Make sure that you wire this guy really good so it doesn't come crashing down. And I'm gonna go right here through the bow, and then I'm going to attach to my bristle. And look at that. That just adds 2 ornaments right here. I wanna add yet another one of the big ones on the bottom. So I'm gonna grab one of these wires and I'm gonna put it through the little hole. Sometimes I need my glasses, you guys, to be able to see these wires. They're so tiny. So I'm gonna put this guy right here. I'm gonna turn it to me and I will turn it back to you in a second, just so that I can see what I am doing. Okay, so I just want to show you the end result on the door, and I want to share with you some of the details, like the little owl, you guys. I'm so in love with it because it's standing on this beautiful pumpkin surrounded by ornaments and bows and ribbons, and it's just so beautiful. I do want to add real quick that I added some of these flyaways with the little ornaments. As you guys can see, they dangle on the wind and they do create something that it just makes it a little bit more airier. You guys, I would not do a swag or wreath without the flyaways, and then also without some of these picks like the leaves and the purple sequin leaves are just so beautiful. I really hope that you learned something with this wreath and that you would give it a try yourself. What do you guys think? I really hope that you enjoyed this batch of fall decorating DIYs. I hope that you learned a few tips, tricks, and hacks. And if you are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I'm going to put a playlist right here with even more fall decorating ideas to inspire you to create beauty around your home this fall season. Thank you guys so much for watching. Consider subscribing, and until next one, you can watch more videos right now. Bye.